But have you ever looked at something and just thought, I know what I'm doing. It's okay. I know what I'm doing, and I've done it. I've done it with these. I'm like, oh yeah, I know what I'm doing. I know how these things go together. It's a cabinet, it's a desk. I mean, it's not that hard. I know what I'm doing. You see, I've made this mistake with, cabinets and furniture being put together, but I've also made that mistake in my life. Not following the instructions, these instructions, saying, it's okay, I know what I'm doing. It's all right, I got it covered. I know what I'm doing. I can handle this job. I can handle this relationship. I can handle parenting. It's okay, I've got it. I know what I'm doing. Students, you're going back to school. You've been in school for the last couple days, and you're going to have to make decisions that are, am I going to stand for the cause of Christ, and say, you know what, and follow the instructions, or be like, oh, it's all right, I know what I'm doing. It's okay, I can live my life. I know what I'm doing, it's okay. And adults, we're no different. You're going to be faced with situations and decisions where you're like, am I going to follow the instructions and the leading of the Lord? And you'll be like, I know what I'm doing, it's okay. I've got it covered, I know what I'm doing. Well, King David, he fell victim to that mentality. I know what I'm doing. It's all right, I've got it covered. You see, after Saul had died, David, he wins the battle because the sons of Saul, obviously, they're like, we're the next heir, we're the rightful heirs to be the next kings over Israel. So David, he's fighting with the house and the sons of Saul, and eventually he defeats the Saul and his sons and becomes the next king. Well, after becoming king, David then makes the decision to move the Ark of the Covenant, and he wants Jerusalem and his kingdom to not only be the political capital, but the religious capital of Israel. And so the Ark of the Covenant was in Bala in Judah, where the Ark, or where the tent of meeting that Moses constructed for the Ark, that's where it was placed. David decides, you know what, we're going to build a new tent and have it right here, close to the kingdom in Jerusalem. And so he constructs this tent and decides we're going to bring the ark close to the kingdom, close to Jerusalem. So David assembles about 30,000 men, the Bible tells us. And they're like, all right, we're going to go get the ark. We're going to bring it back to the kingdom. We're going to bring it back to Jerusalem. We read in 2 Samuel chapter 6, verse 3, it says, they set the ark of God on a new cart and brought it from the house of Abinadab, which was on the hill. Now, this is a departure from the instructions, the very precise instructions that God gave Moses on how to transport the Ark of the Covenant. Complete departure. In Numbers chapter 4, verse 15, we read, the Kohathites are to carry those things that are in the tent of meeting. The Kohathites are a clan of the Levites. The Levites are the priests. They're one of the 12 tribes of Israel. And the Kohathites are a clan of the Levite tribe, and they are the ones that are to move the articles that were in the tent of meeting. So why did David do this? Why did David depart from the very clear instructions that God gave Moses? He actually learned it from the Philistines. You believe that? He learns it from the Philistines. You see, back in 1 Samuel chapter 4, the Philistines, they come in and they attack Israel. They attack Israel and they go in and they actually steal the Ark of the Covenant. They take the Ark of the Covenant and they bring it back with them. Well, there's a whole bunch of stuff happens, literally things just start wreaking havoc all over Philistine because of the Ark of the Covenant. They put it actually in their temple, right beside their God, and the Bible says the next day they came in and their God was on its face. Their little statue, their little fake God, was on its face, basically worshiping the Ark of the Covenant, which is the presence of God. And they did this a couple of times. They stood it up, went down, stood it up. And well, eventually they're like, okay, let's go put it over. And they go and they take it out of there because it's messing with their little statue God, and they didn't like that. They go and they put it in this little town. Well, then all the people in that little town started getting tumors. People were dying. So they're like, you know what? Hey, we're done with this Ark of the Covenant. Here, Israel, you can have it back. It's just wreaking havoc on us, and we're done with it. Get it out of here. So we read in 1 Samuel chapter 6, verse 8, where the leader of the Philistines is saying, hey, this is how we're going to get rid of the ark. Like, we're going to send it back to Israel. We don't want it anymore. We read in verse 8, it says, take the ark of the Lord and put it on the cart. And in a chest beside it, put the gold objects you are sending back to him as a guilt offering. They're like, we're not just going to send the ark back. We're going to send them with some gold, like a guilt offering. Like, please, like, don't let any more bad things happen to us. No more curses, no more tumors, no more, our little statue idol God falling over. Like, please, like, nothing else happen. But it says they put the ark of the Lord on a cart. And that's how they transported it back to Israel. David learned a bad habit from the Philistines. Let me ask you, what bad habits have you learned from the world? What are some bad habits that you've learned from the culture that we live in? Have you shifted your priorities to look more like the world than what God's priorities are? Have you downplayed sin in your life? Or even worse, just said, you know what, it's actually not even sin. Have you adopted culture's idea of success in your life? You see, we get in trouble when we start taking our cues from culture and not God. Start getting in trouble. And then when we start justifying our sin, coming up with ideas of, you know what, hey, this is why it's okay. And when you begin to deviate from the directions, and you start thinking, oh, I know what I'm doing, it's okay, and you start deviating from the directions, you make a mess. You make a mess when you start deviating your life from the instructions that God has given us. You start to make a mess. And whenever I've decided that, you know what, I know how to build this. Whenever I decided and looked at a piece of furniture, that I've gotten, I'm like, oh, I know what I'm doing. And I start putting things in, holes. Oh, yeah, this goes here. This is a dowel that goes here. This, oh, yeah, I know what these things are. And I start just kind of going. I make a mess. I just make a mess of whatever it is that I'm trying to put together. Well, this is where David finds himself. He is about to make a mess. He puts the ark of God on a cart. And then we read in 2 Samuel chapter 6, verses 6 to 7, it says, when they came to the threshing floor of Nacon, Uzzah reached out and took a hold of the ark of God because the oxen stumbled. The Lord's anger burned against Uzzah because of his irreverent act. Therefore, God struck him down and he died there beside the ark of God. David made a mess. Because he said, I know what I'm doing. It's okay. I've got this. I know what to do. But we need to understand that your decisions impact other people. Uzzah never should have been put in that position. Uzzah never should have been walking beside the cart and put in a position where he was going to have to make a split-second decision. It's not like he thought about it. He knew, hey, I wasn't supposed to touch the ark. Everyone knew in Israel, you don't touch the Ark of Covenant. Like, it wasn't a secret. But Uzzah, he was like this reaction, this it's going to fall. He just put his hand out. But it was David's decision that put him in a position that he never should have been in. Your decisions impact other people. And as I said, they knew, Israel knew you were not to touch the ark, because in Numbers chapter 4, verse 15, it says, but they must not touch the holy things or they will die. Like, it's plain and simple. Do not touch the holy things or you will die. But it was because of David's bad decision that put Uzzah in a position where he was going to have to compromise, where he just reacted. He didn't even make a decision. He just reacted, saw it falling and reacted. Your decisions impact others. You don't have to be a king, politician, or world leader to have your decisions impact other people. Parents, you know this. Right? Your decisions impact your kids. Not just your parenting, like every part of your life impacts your kids. Parents, you want to set your kids up to serve God. You want to set your kids up so that they can grow in a relationship with God. So therefore, you want to have your kids accept Christ and to live for him forever, right? Like, that's what we want for our kids. So we need to start bringing our kids to church, right? We need to make this a routine and ingrain this, that this is important, that this is where you learn about God, this is where you cultivate friendships and relationships. If you have students in youth, you heard it Pastor Caleb on the video announcements. We have their big back to school bash this Wednesday at 6:30. If you have students, you need to get them here. I was a youth pastor for over 10 years. And I would have conversations. There's a few different times I would have a conversation with a parent and I'd tell them like, hey, it's important. You need to make sure your students are in youth. You need to make sure that they're coming, that they're building relationships with other students. It's hard. It's tough out there. And they're like, well, they don't have any friends in youth. And I'm like, well, I understand that. But if they don't come, they're never going to have friends. And that parent, they decided that, I'm not going to push them, I'm not going to make them. And you know what? They didn't want to go. Well, about 3 or 4 years later, when their student was a junior or senior, I had that same parent come to me, Pastor Mike, my student, my son, wants nothing to do with God, nothing to do with church. He's living a sinful life. I don't know what to do. I didn't say this, but I wanted to say, I told you what to do. 3 years ago, I told you what to do. To have them involved in a youth ministry so they could build relationships with other students, so they could get a foundation in Jesus. Because relationships, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the relationships. Parents, you are not enough for your student. You're not. You are not enough. I'm not enough for my girls to serve God the rest of their lives. They need friends. They need to have other people in their lives. They need to have other pastors in their lives that aren't their parents, so it's a little different. But they need to have a pastor in their life that they can go to that will invest in them. They need to cultivate friendships and relationships so that when times get tough, when they start questioning their faith, when they start getting the idea in their head to kind of get off track a little bit and start making decisions that are counter to the instructions that God has given them, they have some people in their life say, no, you need to hold on a second. And I had people like that in my life. Relationships are so important. One of the things that we are very passionate about, one of our core values is we are connected. That we want to be connected, yes, first and foremost to God, but we need to be connected to one another. And as you came in today, you saw tables out in the hallway. And we're launching our Connect groups here in a few weeks. And so after service, we want you to go and to sign up for a Connect group. All the Connect groups are doing all the same material. It's going to be sermon-based. They're going to be discussing whatever the message was the previous week. So you don't have to worry about, what topic it's going to be. Everyone's going to be on the same topic, doing the same thing. But what's important is those relationships and friendships that you are going to build in these Connect groups. Because we can't go through life alone. We're created for relationship. You want to study and grow and go deeper. Yes, that's important. Absolutely, that's part of it. But the other part, which is equally important, is the relationships that you're going to cultivate with others, growing in the Word. And then this is the thing, is when your relationships, they just go to another level when you're cultivating, when you're doing things that are godly. When you're having those Connect groups, you're discussing the things of God, your relationships just get so much deeper and so much more meaningful. So I want to encourage you to sign up, take some time after service, go and sign up for a Connect group. Look for, we have ones for couples, for singles, for women, for youth, whatever, different days of the week, different areas. Find a group and jump in. It's for 6 weeks. So it's not like we're asking to be a part of it for the next 6 months. It's 6 weeks. But it is so important that we as a church, that we stay and get connected. And if you're new or newer here, I really want to encourage you to jump in, join a Connect group. If you're watching online, you can go. We're going to put the link in the comments where you can go and sign up online. If you're working today, you're out of town and just couldn't be here today, then you can go ahead and sign up online. You can see all the groups. And man, I just want to encourage you, jump into a Connect group. Because we need to have relationship and fellowship with friends and other Christians, because we need to make it easier to honor God. Amen? Like we want to make our lives easier to honor God. Your decisions impact others, right? We need to keep that in our mind, that my decisions impact other people. And this past weekend was Labor Day. And Labor Day, our kids went back on Tuesday. So Labor Day, we cleared our schedule. We're not going to do anything on Labor Day. And so Susie and I, we slept in a little bit. We got up, had coffee, and I was starting to get hungry, but we didn't really have a plan. And so I was like, hey, I thought, I'm just going to make some bacon and eggs. We didn't have bacon. I'm like, anybody get hangry? Like, it was kind of getting to the point where I'm kind of getting hangry. Like, I need food, like, now. And so I'm like, forget it. I'm just going to go to McDonald's. I got everyone's order. I'm going to McDonald's. That way we don't have to cook and clean up. I'm just going to go to McDonald's, get some breakfast. I go to McDonald's, and it's too late. They don't serve breakfast. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. It's 11 o'clock. I want breakfast at McDonald's. No. So I go, get everyone's order, go to Dunkin'. I'm like, all right, go to Dunkin', got everyone's order, come home. And there's this thing that I've been noticing that's been happening when I get something for Susie or I get an order, a takeout order for us family. If it's going to be wrong, it's going to be her order. I'm literally walking out of Dunkin' Donuts with her coffee in my hand, and it's something I couldn't even remember, couldn't even say half the words on the thing. And I'm like, you know what? I bet this is wrong. But there's nothing I could do. I don't know what it looks like. I don't even know what it's supposed to look like. But I just knew in my head, this is going to be wrong. And I get home, sure enough, hand her the coffee. She's like, this isn't it. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, it's, why? And I'm starting to get really angry. And I was like, because I know you say it's not my fault, but I know deep down you're blaming me. I told them exactly what you texted me. They made it wrong, but somehow I know you blame me. And I'm starting to get angry. I hadn't had my English muffin yet, and but what I noticed is that my anger and frustration was beginning to rub off on Susie. It was beginning to rub off on my girls. And my attitude and my mood was being transferred to the people around me. My decisions impact more than just me. My mood was impacting everyone in the room. Your decisions impact more than just you. Uzzah lost his life because of the decision that David made. A poor decision, a bad decision. We've all made bad decisions, right? I know I have. Now, hopefully it hasn't resulted in anybody's death like David's decision, but we need to allow the Holy Spirit to convict us, to correct us. When we start making bad decisions that are negatively impacting the people around us. I want to live my life in such a way that my decisions help people, encourage people, inspire people, build people up. The directions on how to live that kind of life, right here. The directions are right here, and they're crystal clear on how we are called to live to impact others for the cause of Christ.